America's pastime has been a part of the Vegas community for over 40 years. And as our city grew, so did the love of the game. Now, excitement is growing for our next home team. All season long, Fox 5 and the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network are covering athletics baseball on the field, in our community, as we build our future together. America's pastime will soon call the Valley home. Play ball, Las Vegas. This is Covering the Bases with the A's.
Hey there, baseball fans. Welcome to Covering the Bases with the A's, the first ever Las Vegas show devoted strictly to athletics baseball. I'm Mike Davis, alongside Kevin Bollinger. Kevin, tell us what's on deck.
Well, we got a lot going on here. Here is the batting order. Nick Kurtz getting hot at the plate once again. A couple of clutch home runs. A's insider Jessica Kleinschmidt will join us to talk more on his development. Plus, Moran Janos giving us a taste of Las Vegas ballpark in Summerlin. But first, we've got to start, as we always seem to do, with shortstop Jacob Wilson. The guy's a stud.
Of course, as if hitting .360, second in the majors for batting average, only behind the Yankees' Aaron Judge, and racking up 98 hits, second in the MLB, again behind Judge, wasn't enough. Now Jacob Wilson is leading AL shortstops in All-Star voting.
As the latest All-Star Game ballot updates came out on June 16th, Wilson has over 562,000 votes. Just another accomplishment for an already stellar rookie campaign.
Yeah, Wilson currently has the 7th most All-Star votes of any player in the American League. If he keeps this up, he would be the A's first fan-elected start in an All-Star game since Josh Donaldson in 2014. He'd also be the first starting shortstop the A's have had in an All-Star game since Bert Campaneris in 1974. Now, exciting stuff for the 23-year-old, and perhaps even more than what the A's expected in drafting him 6th overall in the 2023 MLB draft. So Kevin, he's ahead of a lot of other AL shortstop studs like Bobby Witt Jr., Jeremy Pena, Gunnar Henderson. Sometimes in this fan voting stuff, it can get problematic, but how refreshing is it to see fans get this part of the voting process right?
What it really shows is that baseball fans across the country are paying attention, and they appreciate the talents of Jacob Wilson. Sometimes that's hard to do when you're not winning games, and especially when you play on the West Coast and your night games on the West Coast start at 10 p.m. Eastern, so fans out there don't get to see him play as much. But Wilson receives so much love on social media. People are starting to pay attention now to what he does on a daily basis, and they're giving him all the All-Star love.
Yeah, and A's fans, don't forget about some other studs up for All-Star voting. Brent Rooker is currently sitting 7th among designated hitters. So how can you help? Well, just visit athletics.com/all-star to help get the A's to the A. The 2025 MLB All-Star Game is July 15th at Truist Park in Atlanta. Now, Kev, let's talk about a dude who looks like a future All-Star. First baseman Nick Kurtz is making magic since his return from injury, and on Monday night in Sacramento, Kurtz displayed the power that earned him the nickname Nicky Nukes.
Kurtz, good night! Crush that baseball and ends in walk-off fashion!
It was a game that was tied at 1 from the bottom of the 5th inning on. Kurtz came on to rescue everybody in the bottom of the 9th. That 2-run walk-off bomb. Exactly the thing the A's expected from the big man when they called him up to the big leagues in April.
Yeah, it was the first walk-off home run of his major league career. But get this, Kev, the walk-off home run on Monday night that we're seeing right there didn't just go over the right center field wall at Sutter Health Park. It went, and kept going. StatCast projected the home run to be 447 feet, making it the longest walk-off homer by an A's player since StatCast began tracking in 2015.
And the #1 A's prospect in the A's system knew it once he hit it, and he swung from his shoes. I mean, look at his helmet even dipped down and covered his left eye, and he still got all of it. He secured the A's 4th consecutive win. And here's Mark Kotze after that moment.
I mean, we knew that this player with Kurtz can have impact and be a middle-of-the-order bat. You know, I mentioned in our pregame, right, like everyone wants to put these guys that have success in AAA right in the middle of the order and test it out. And You know, I think the progression for him has been slowly moving up in the order. You saw tonight he was in the 5-hole. And, you know, I think he's getting a lot more comfortable. The at-bats are looking better, and the results are, you know, obviously showing up. You know, feel great for him. You can see there's more confidence. You can see him kind of, you know, in some form, starting to be a leader in the clubhouse.
And we might just need to get used to this, Kev, because the day before, Kurtz hit the game-winning homer in the top of the 9th to seal the sweep of the Royals.
Yeah, the 22-year-old's come up clutch a couple of times since his return from injury. He had missed 14 games with that hip flexor injury, and he was struggling a little bit heading into that game in Kansas City on Sunday, but he got a pitch that he was looking for, and he definitely did not miss a big-time swing when the A's needed it most.
Yeah, the A's first sweep of the Royals at Kauffman since September 2016. So, Kev, this is a super good sign for Kurtz coming back from injury, and now we're seeing the proof in the pudding. The promise of that power hitting that Kurtz had displayed in college and in the minors is now finally shining through in the big. So what do these recent performances from Kurtz tell you about his potential?
Well, this is the next phase here and the next big-time star for the A's. He wasn't even projected to be in the big leagues right now. Keep in mind, he wasn't drafted until last June. He was still projected to be in AA or AAA at this point, but he's quickly becoming that big league hitter. He's getting deeper into counts. Yeah. He's not chasing pitches, and he's always seeming to get barrel on ball a lot more consistently. And he's also a great clubhouse guy. You heard Mark Kotsay talk about that, becoming a leader in the clubhouse. He fits in with this team perfectly. That's another major foundational piece for the future of the A's that's paying dividends right now.
And just that bat flick. I mean, you got to love that. That's
swag.
The swagger is important. I've done that a few times with some Fisher-Price bats myself.
So that solo homer versus Kansas City not only gave the A's a 3-2 win, but the series sweep.
Yes, Kevin, a 6-4 win on Friday, then a 4-0 shutout on Saturday, followed up with that special moment we just saw on Sunday. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about that great moment and everything Nick Kurtz is doing with A's insider Jessica Kleinschmidt and get the pulse of the team following that weekend sweep. More on that and Kurtz coming up.
And before we head to break, let's get a quick trivia question in. If you've been following along with our Green and Gold Throwback series, you know the A's opened up the first ever concrete and steel ballpark in 1909. But when they opened Shibe Park that year, which of these guys had just taken the oath of office of the presidency 1 month before? Was it Teddy Roosevelt, William Taft, Woodrow Wilson, or Warren G. Harding? Remember him? Answer after the break.
You're watching Covering the Bases with the A's.
All right, we're back with the answer to this question. Who had just taken the oath of office in Washington, D.C. just 1 month before the A's opened Shibe Park just up the road in Philly in 1909? The president we're looking for is William Howard Taft. To this day, Taft is actually the only president to weigh more than 300 pounds and also the only one to serve as Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, which he did just after he was president. Pretty cool. Now, as for Shibe Park, not only did it usher in a whole new era of ballparks with wooden structures prone to fire quickly disappearing afterward, it's also the only stadium in American League history to host 2 World Series in its first 3 years of existence. It's a bit of a teaser, maybe a little spoiler, for this week's Green and Gold Throwback, which is coming up in just a few minutes. For now, let's get over to Kevin.
We're joined now by A's insider Jessica Kleinschmidt. And Jess, the A's put together a win streak. How has that changed the whole mood around this team?
It's funny, I walked into the clubhouse just the other day when the team returned home, and there's a different energy. They're always pretty mellow, but there's a little bit extra, I guess, pizzazz to all of it. The guys were more laid back and in better moods, and definitely the confidence was showing, and that showed because they took on the Houston Astros Monday night and ultimately won.
Now, Nick Kurtz gets the game-winning home run to get the sweep in Kansas City, gets the walk-off home run on Monday night against the Astros. For a young player like that to come through in clutch situations, how much of a bonus is that for the A's that they're seeing this so early in his career?
Oh, it's such a bonus because the thing about him being young, he still has a really advanced approach to the plate. And that's something that the front office saw when they drafted him. And for him to turn that into some clutch situations, like you said, is not only great, but showing he's maturing really fast. And on Monday night, it was a 447-foot homer that ended it all. So I asked him, with that amount of footage to that ball, was there anything special there? And he said, no, I just wanted to swing hard, and that was my main goal going up against the pitcher. And so from that perspective, and he was all smiles, your first walk-off home run in your major league career, you're going to be really happy. And you remember he was out for 2 weeks, so luckily it wasn't too bad of an injury, only needed one rehab assignment game, which is great. But he did, miss the game a lot. And I think that was important for a young guy. You get away from the game a little bit, you don't realize how much you actually love it, because he's also adjusting to 162. But yeah, he got the homer on Father's Day, so Jeff was really excited. He said, "Love you, Dad," at the end of his conversation with the broadcast team. And then, of course, we all spoke to him yesterday. So 2 post-game interviews in a row.
Zach Geloff started a rehab assignment with the Aviators. What's the update on his injury status, as well as Shea Langoliers?
So Shea's going to be shut down for a little bit longer, which is a bummer, but the team did bring in Austin Wynns, a veteran catcher who's just fantastic. You want to talk about prepared, Kevin. This guy has a binder full of information that he's learned from each and every team that he's been a part of, meshed very well. Definitely a pro's pro, and I know the starters appreciate that. And Shea's, of course, still helping out as he can. I did see him on Monday. I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but you could tell he's still kind of feeling it a little bit. But Geloff, yeah, he is doing a rehab assignment. They're going to check in on him because we don't really know how many at-bats he truly needs. But that's the big question. He comes in. You can't take Luis Arias out of the lineup. What are they going to do with Max Schumann, who's, obviously utility guy, so maybe they'll bring him off the bench. Max Muncy's swinging it really well, and he's doing great defensively at third base. So there's some questions that need to be answered, but ultimately a good problem to have.
She is A's insider Jessica Kleinschmidt. Jess, thanks for the time.
Thanks for having me.
All right, coming up, Mariah Janos is hanging out with the Aviators. She's got a fun look at all the specialty food and drink items being served up this summer at Las Vegas Ballpark. And we're also going back in time. This time to 1911, the A's try to defend their World Series title this week on Green and Gold Throwback.
You're watching Covering the Bases with the A's.
All right, time now for another look back at the long and storied history of the A's. And, last week we really started to see why the word storied is appropriate to use here, as we learned about their first World Series win in 1910. So let's jump right back in for the next season as the defending champs try to keep their title.
The A's had no trouble repeating as American League champs in 1911, winning by 13.5 games. Their pitching was great again, with Jack Coombs leading the league in wins for a second straight year, but it was the lineup that really took off, especially now that the $100,000 infield, as it was called, solidified this year. With fresh-faced 20-year-old Stuffy McInnes taking over at first base. We've told you before about their all-world second baseman Eddie Collins, who improved his average from last season by 40 points, hitting .365. And you know about their future Hall of Fame third baseman Frank Home Run Baker, who led the league in home runs and hair follicles in 1911. Rounding out the $100,000 infield was shortstop Jack Barry, who was decent at the plate but was most valuable with his glove. This quartet propelled the A's right back to the World Series, where they'd get a revenge match against the team that beat them in their first Fall Classic appearance, the New York Giants, and their ace, Christy Mathewson, who shut them out in all 3 games he started back in the 1905 series. This time around, he beat the A's again in Game 1, letting just 1 runner score. But the A's bounced back in Game 2 on a day their fans lined the streets of Philadelphia hours before game time just to get in. And the ones who didn't get tickets just watched from the roofs of nearby homes, which they did for every big game their beloved A's were in. A strong start by Eddie Plank put the A's in a good spot to win, and Home Run Baker earned his nickname by blasting a 2-run shot for the winning runs. He hit another clutch homer in Game 3, helping the A's finally beat Mathewson, and they'd keep it rolling going into Game 6, up 3-2, where they blew out the Giants 13-2, securing a second straight World Series win.
Now, we hear the word dynasty thrown around quite a bit nowadays, but back in 1911, there had never really been one in professional sports before. The A's were on the verge of it, though. And next week on Green and Gold Throwback, we're going to see if they could make good on their quest for a three-peat and baseball immortality. For now, Mike, Kevin, to you.
All right, thanks, Mike. Kevin, one of the best things about going to a baseball game, of course, is the food, and Las Vegas Ballpark has some of the best food in the minor leagues.
Yeah, they really do. A fun story right now. Let's send it over to Mariah Janos, who got a behind-the-scenes look at the top menu options being served up at Aviator fans all summer long.
All right, you will be hard-pressed to find a better stadium in the minor league system than Las Vegas Ballpark, and that goes beyond the infrastructure. The food and beverage, huge part of it as well. So I am here with Chef Gary here at the ballpark. So take me through, what do we have set up here?
So we have a Philly cheesesteak stand, and this year we decided what's better than a Philly cheesesteak adding a hot dog to it. We have street corn in a souvenir helmet that we serve at a crunch time. This is our newest sensation, our smash burgers. This is really, really popular. It took off like crazy. And then I have a new concept here. It's called Frank's, and it's a hot dog cart where we do some different style dogs. This year we're featuring coast to coast. So I have a West Coast dog here, and that is basically a BLT dog with avocado crema. We have a Chicago dog with all the works on it, right? Sport peppers, mustard, tomato, neon relish, onions, delicious, and a pickle spear. And then we have one of my favorites is the New York style hot dog with sauerkraut, brown mustard, and then we have a ketchup sauce that we put on there with onion.
All right, Chef, thank you so much. We're going to tap you out and tap in Brad to go over the libations here. Now, Brad is here to talk us through the drinks. You need to wash down that food with something, right? And these are quite flashy.
We change up our specialty cocktails a little bit every year just to make it live and festive. This is called Bringing the Heater. So a lot of our drinks we like to put towards baseball themes, you know, have fun with it. So what it is a spicy jalapeno margarita with a little watermelon in there. And also on top, we do a little Tajín candies just to give it a little more flavor. And then over here next to this is our spruce juice. So what this is, it's a strawberry ginger hard lemonade that we serve out of a tap, and it's made just for us here at the ballpark. Something else we do a lot here is we love to support local breweries. So we have a bar called 702 Bar, where we support 5 local breweries here in town. Another fun thing we brought on this year is we do these souvenir bats. So you can fill these up with whatever you like, a specialty cocktail, a beer on tap, or something we also feature here is it's a guava frozen margarita.
Amazing stuff, Brad. Thank you so much. I think it's time to try everything now. We're going to start east and head west. So we're going to start in New York. Oh, we're going to make a little stop in Chicago here. The pickle. Lastly, California, West Coast. Little avocado, little greens today. Always need that. Moving on to the smash burgers. That's it. See that? It's the good stuff. Yep. Wow. The moral of the story here is you absolutely cannot go wrong with anything and everything that you order here at Las Vegas Ballpark. So if you have not checked it out, be sure to do it soon. You got great food, great drinks, and of course, the Aviators are atop the PCL standings, so great entertainment as well.
Mariah making me jealous over there. All right, guys. Aviators fans, don't forget you can watch select games all season long right here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Your next opportunity will be Tuesday, June 24th, when the team takes on Albuquerque. All right, we got one more break here on Covering the Bases with the A's. When we return, we're breaking down the A's upcoming matchup with the Guardians as Cleveland comes to town for a weekend series.
You're watching Covering the Bases with the A's.
Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas, where the lights never dim and the energy never fades. The sports and entertainment capital of the world. But it wasn't always that way. This is a city that's mastered the art of reinvention. So why not do it again? A's baseball is coming to Las Vegas in 2028. They say good things come to those who wait, but we're not here to be good. We're here to be great, and we're not waiting. The Neon City is about to shine even brighter. and a whole lot greener. Every day, every play. This patch is more than a statement. It's a promise. Las Vegas, we're coming.
A's fans get priority access to purchase season tickets in Las Vegas for just $19.01.
Now, current A's season ticket members, Aviators season ticket holders, as well as Clark County residents who secure their spot on the priority access list will receive purchase priority ahead of the general fan. For more, you can visit athletics.com/Vegas.
All right, so Kev, after the Astros, the A's will stay at home and look to keep up that momentum versus the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah, currently sitting in third place right now. The Guardians looking to jump ahead of the Twins in the AL Central.
Yeah, Cleveland is currently in series, battling it out with the Giants in the Bay. But before that, the Giants had a rough string of games against the Mariners, dropping 3 in a series sweep. This will be the first time the A's face the Guardians this season. So, Kevin, what should be on top of mind for fans as we're paying attention to this upcoming series?
Well, the Guardians are an interesting team that maybe doesn't have a ton of big-time names, but they've been hovering around the 500 mark all year. That has them right in the thick of the wild card race. The players to watch, their baseman Jose Ramirez, who's always a threat at the plate.
Yeah.
And you also have all-star left fielder Steven Kwan, who's a Bay Area guy from Fremont. He's becoming one of the best leadoff hitters in the game, along with being a Gold Glover. So this should be a good competitive series for the A's before they hit the road next week for a tough trip to AL Central leading Detroit and AL East leading New York.
All right, there you go. Well, that's a wrap on this edition of Covering the Bases with the A's. I'm Mike Davis. That's Kevin Bollinger. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us.
Have a good one.